We begun discussing a scenario where Gohan had a different motivation for training. And it wasn't later on in the story, it was right from the get-go. We saw the beginning of the Saiyan saga and how Gohan started to grow. But now we get into the true climax of the Saiyan saga. Vegeta and Nappa are arriving on Earth. How are all the changes here going to affect the story? We'll be seeing all that and more in this part 2 of What If Gohan Trained Like Goku. Kami alerts everyone on the lookout, although they could already sense it mostly. He says he sees where the Saiyans have landed, and they definitely are as powerful as they expected. The group tries to focus more in on the power. It's incredible. They definitely are way stronger than Raditz was. Well, at least for the people that knew how strong Raditz was. But they all feel like they're prepared. They've grown a lot stronger and have trained a lot. They're going to have some great synergy fighting together too, and they have some new techniques to use. So let's actually discuss some power level. Goku's the strongest, at around 7,000. He was training as intensely as possible, but nothing compares to what he got with King Kai. And although he was training with higher gravity there, a lot of his time was spent running across Snake Way. So here, while the training was less intense, he had more time training, and he still had some good training partners with him. Piccolo also had a lot more time focusing on himself and some training partners with him. And he's also a little bit stronger than normal at 4,000. Gohan's actually third strongest at 3,000, which is insane. Of course, everyone here doesn't quantify power levels, but they could just sense how strong Gohan is. Krillin and Ten are around the same at 2,500, with Yamcha lagging a bit behind at 2,000, and Chaozu's at 1,000. That might seem weak, but they're actually all stronger than they were normally. Again, mainly due to them having greater training partners, which has been shown in the series to actually help. Especially when their training partners are so strong, they have Goku and Piccolo there. Another benefit of Piccolo being there is they get to learn his fighting style more. If they're teaming up against the Saiyans, they're going to need a lot more synergy. And they fight perfectly well with each other, but with Piccolo, this definitely did help. They arrive in a wasteland, hoping that this will draw the Saiyans out, and of course it does. Similar to Raditz, these two are wearing their scouters, being able to locate the strongest power level they could find. But Vegeta and Nappa aren't too worried, so they're going to start this off with some Saibamen. One thing that might not change here is Yamcha being the first to step up against the Saibamen. He is a bit stronger, but not enough to stop him from dying from self-destruction. Yamcha did fight well against the Saibamen, but ends up dying from this sneaky trick. The rest of them are wiped out by Gohan, Ten, and Chaozu. Piccolo doesn't even need to step in to defend Gohan, or Goku for that matter because he's here. Although, two of them aren't completely destroyed, and they also decide to self-destruct, trying to at least take one person down with them. They aim for the weakest, Chaozu. Of course, they expect the Saibamen to self-destruct, but these two attack together. Chaozu paralyzes one, but it's not really going to do too much. He explodes midair, while the other one comes up behind Chaozu, killing him that way. It's already brutal to begin with. And as for Goku and Gohan, they're starting to feel that anger. Gohan's gotten to know these people in his time training on the lookout. They're Goku's friends, and for Goku, it should be pretty obvious why he's upset. Same for Krillin and Shinhan. But it's different for these two. They're infuriated. And the fact that it happened so quickly. Chaozu's death concerns them. They can't bring him back with the Dragon Balls. Yamcha, yeah, they can bring him back, but Chaozu's already died once. And Vegeta picks up on this. Dragon Balls? Interesting. But he's not the only one to pick up on this. He does have his scouter on still. But Krillin tells Goku, how about this? They'll team up against one of the Saiyans. That weaker one, the big one. Nappa's annoyed at the notion that he's weak, but he'll show them his true strength. And Vegeta says he'll stand back, letting Nappa fight alone. Goku thinks him and Krillin fighting together would be great. That should be just enough to take on this guy. Plus, he would love to fight alongside his best friend like that. The two assume a battle stance to get ready, and immediately, there's a blinding light. Krillin launches a solar flare, even catching Vegeta off guard. Nappa's completely blinded, then attacked by Goku. Even his scouter won't help here, and he can't sense ki. Goku starts off with a rapid meteor combination, then landing a powerful kick on Nappa and propelling himself backwards from it. And as Goku jumps backwards, Krillin flies in underneath him, launching a point-blank Kamehameha in his face. This propels him backwards too, landing alongside Goku. They actually dealt a good amount of damage to Nappa. His vision's clearing, but he's still partially blinded. Quickly, he flings his head forward and blindly fires a blast from his mouth. Goku and Krillin stand back to back, each launching a Kamehameha. A short beam struggle ensues, but someone else then attacks Nappa as well. Ten launches a Dodonpa, aiming it right at Nappa's chin. His mouth closes, his own beam explodes in his own mouth, and then he's hit by the double Kamehameha. After the dust settles, Nappa is left there on the ground, defeated and embarrassed. Unconscious as well after all those attacks at once. Vegeta can't believe it, but he's disgusted. He walks over to the unconscious Nappa. The group thinks that he's probably going to try and heal him or something, but instead, he simply flings Nappa up into the air, killing him. He has no use for a Saiyan like that anymore. He must admit, they're a little bit more impressive than he thought, but not by much. It did take their combined power to defeat Nappa after all, and he doesn't think their power will be enough to defeat him. Even if they all team up together, it's not going to work. Goku mutters something under his breath. No one could hear it, but Piccolo can. It's a signal. The group sees Piccolo briefly move out of the way, and they get the signal too. This is a planned coordinated attack that they have. And Goku was the one to give the go-ahead. They're surprised he's enacting it so early, but it is probably a good idea to do it right now. Goku, Gohan, and Tenshinhan stand together. Vegeta starts powering up. They're amazed at his ki, but they start powering up as well, and each stick their hands out. Together, the three of them use a technique that they learned from Roshi, one that they think could be really helpful here. Vegeta then feels a jolt of electricity running through his body. And it's powerful. It's the combined power of those three. They're not sure if this is going to be enough to hold him though, but they're each using a Thundershock surprise. And Vegeta's able to struggle, trying whatever he can to break free from it. He thinks he might be able to, but he wonders why not all of them are using it. Maybe only those 3 know it, or maybe it's a strategy. He needs to power up a little bit more to escape. He struggles to turn his head, looking to see where that Namekian went. Then he hears it. A blast is launched from a nearby cliff. And it's no normal blast, it's a condensed beam, a precise and powerful one. Vegeta desperately tries to power up, finally able to unleash his full strength. Piccolo's beam draws ever closer, and at the last second, Vegeta breaks free. Piccolo's beam flies right past him, singeing his arm, leaving a cut on it. He knew it would have done more damage if it actually hit him directly. Thankfully, he barely got out of the way. But while he dodges this attack, he realizes he walked right into another one. He flies backwards and then hears something that sounds like a razor behind him. A key ends on from Krillin. With this one, it's a little bit too late to dodge. He doesn't even see it coming at first. He can't even sense it. He is able to maneuver out of the way quickly, but not quick enough. The back of one of his legs is sliced open. He shrieks in pain, and Krillin's glad he landed a hit, even if it wasn't direct. Vegeta flips backwards, landing on his hands, and then trying to stand up. He can't. If he dodged any slower, he'd be down a leg by now. But still, his leg is completely useless. He can't stand on it anymore. Vegeta tries to cauterize it. At least he could stop the bleeding. He's angry and starts floating there. He tells him this is nothing. He's faced worse injuries. He could fight with his handicap. Besides, he can maneuver more in the air anyways. The entire remaining group launches at Vegeta. He's at his full power, and they are too. This guy's powerful, but with their collective might, they could overcome him. They're confident in it, especially because they handicapped him, but they just need one more handicap. One more thing to ensure victory. They do have another plan too. That didn't work to kill him, but maybe they can go for his weak point next. His tail. Vegeta first aims for Kakarot. He'll kill him first. He's a pathetic excuse for a Saiyan. He should have went with Raditz when he had the chance. He charges a blast quickly, but before he can launch it, his scouter goes off, then exploding. Someone's power level spikes nearby. It's Gohan. He launches in at Vegeta with both fists outstretched. He hits Vegeta right in the chest with all his power. And Vegeta launches a blast off into the distance, exploding. Gohan follows up with a flurry of punches right towards Vegeta's face. The wind is knocked out of him from that first attack, and Piccolo sees an opportunity. He stretches an arm out trying to grab Vegeta's tail, as Gohan flips backwards, then launching a blast point blank at Vegeta. Vegeta's not affected by Piccolo grabbing his tail, but he is hurt by Gohan's attacks. He grabs Piccolo's outstretched arm, yanking him inwards. In one swift motion, he slices Piccolo's arm off and then slams his fist on Piccolo's head. They're idiots if they think that would work. His tail's not a weak point like Raditz. But Piccolo grabs onto his tail again, holding it out. He lifts his hand up again, trying to charge an attack point blank at Piccolo. But then he hears that same razor sound again. He tries to fly up a bit, but Piccolo's still holding onto his tail, holding it completely out, anchoring him down. The Kienzan flies right towards Vegeta's tail, slicing it clean off. Goku cheers them on. Even if Vegeta's tail wasn't a weak point, they're smart enough to prevent it from transforming into a great ape still. Vegeta looks behind him in disbelief. The tail! They actually got it! Although Krillin's a bit disappointed. He was aiming for Vegeta's torso because that would have been a killing blow. But the tail's good enough too, that's another handicap. And while Vegeta looks down in disbelief, using the last of his power, Piccolo charges up a massive mouth beam. It hits Vegeta head on, injuring him a bit at first, but Vegeta maneuvers himself through the beam, punching right through it, and then shooting his fist right through Piccolo's chest. He then kicks Piccolo off his arm, launching a blast and annihilating him. Piccolo knew the risk of getting too close. But now, that's another one of their allies down. And it's even worse now. Piccolo did help a lot here. He injured Vegeta a bit, and he helped them cut off his tail. But at the same time, with him gone, they can't bring anybody back now. But Krillin tells Goku he's not too worried. He'll tell him later on. But even without Earth's Dragon Balls, they could bring Yamcha, Chaozu, and Piccolo back. As well as Kami, and whoever else the Saiyans eliminated in that city where they landed. Wait, he's serious? Vegeta can see them discussing something. They seem to be really upset about that Namekian dying. Even more upset than the others beforehand. But then it hits him. Could it be those Dragon Balls? He knows Namekians have weird magical properties, so maybe that Namekian was linked somehow. It's just a hunch, but he's gonna look into that. At least after he wins this battle. Gohan's infuriated though. Thing is, he's not as close with Piccolo here, but this is another one of his allies dying. Yamcha, Chaozu, and now him. There's another rage boost from Gohan. But before he jumps in, Goku stops him. It's too dangerous to head in alone. They need to attack together, and he tells Gohan, channel that anger into one attack. And together, they could defeat Vegeta. He's injured enough, and if they put their full power into one combined blast, that could stop him. But Vegeta starts charging more ki around him. He's glowing purple, with sparks of purple electricity, and he launches high up into the air. Assuming a strange stance, charging a beam in his hands behind him. He says he's done with this battle. He'll launch a blast that kills all of them, also penetrating right through Earth, detonating the entire planet, and he'll just escape in time. These Earthlings, that low-class scum and his son, they're such cowards the way they're fighting. They have to resort to these tricks. But even so, even with all these dirty tricks and the fact that they outnumber him, Vegeta's still gonna win here. He's confident in it. He tells him to say goodbye, telling Kakarot to hug his son one last time, because both of them are gonna be wiped from existence in a moment. Krillin nervously shouts, okay, well, if they're gonna charge an attack together, now's the time to do it. Together, Goku, Gohan, and Krillin assume a stance, one that Ten immediately recognizes for a Kamehameha. That attack's easy enough to copy, although knowing that attack he wonders if it'll be enough. but he assumes the same stance too. And the four of them all get together in a circle, or a square, I guess. They charge their blast behind them and then draw their hands forward, right in the middle of the square. Vegeta launches his Galick Gun, and they wait for the right moment, continuing to charge the attack. Goku shouts, giving them the cue to launch it. The beam that they're charging in the middle of the square gets larger and larger, and then they all throw their hands in, launching it upwards at Vegeta's blast. The blasts connect, and Vegeta's is starting to push theirs back. It keeps bouncing back and forth. They don't know whose beam is stronger. They're evenly matched, but at some points, Vegeta's beam briefly overpowers theirs. Goku turns to Gohan. Remember what he said, unleash that rage. He knows Gohan doesn't have an amazing control on the rage, but it's better than what he had normally. Plus, unlike the main story, Gohan's a lot more confident as a fighter here, since he's been training for it longer and knows a lot of his abilities as well as his dormant power. Goku tells him think about it. He could help them win, and if they don't push this beam back, everyone's dead. Gohan feels that rage boil up in him, and he shouts, adding a lot more power to the beam. The three others are amazed at the sheer amount of power he added, and their combined blast effortlessly overpowers Vegeta's. Vegeta's hit head on by the blast, and at first, they think they just completely eradicated him. But the blast really just knocked Vegeta far away, almost killing him. He landed somewhere far in the distance, and they could tell because eventually they see Vegeta's ship fly over and then leave, launching back off into space. He must have retreated. And of the four that are left, they're surprisingly in okay condition. They're worn out, and they did take a bit of damage, but not as bad as normal, especially Goku. And Goku asks Krillin, what plan did he have in mind? And he explains. Vegeta and Nappa mention something about Piccolo being Namekian, which also means Kami must be Namekian, which means these Namekians might have more Dragon Balls. So if they could find Piccolo's home world, that could really help, although they don't know where to begin looking. Bulma gets right on it though. Of course they need to revive their friends, and she wants to bring Yamcha back too. So she starts tirelessly trying to find the planet. But about a day later, everyone's together and they hear a voice in their head. It's some guy that introduces himself as King Kai. He intervened a little bit later because he didn't actually know anyone just yet, but now he actually does. He had watched the battle, and decided maybe it would be best to help. He tells them what's going on. He says Yamcha, Chaozu, and Piccolo are with him, and he hypes up his planet a bit too, saying he's going to give them some great training, especially because they're training in 10 times gravity. They're going to grow a lot stronger, and since these Earth fighters help stop some of the Saiyans, he'll help them out a bit too, telling them where planet Namek is. This is a huge help. They thank King Kai. Although, that does bring up something interesting. Goku heard they're training in high gravity. That sounds awesome. And now that he thinks about it, he remembers Nappa said something weird in passing, saying that this planet had weak gravity, and that's probably going to make the fight a lot easier for them. And out of curiosity before he goes, he asks King Kai, does he know anything about his home planet? Like, were the Saiyans training in high gravity as well? And King Kai says from what he remembers, Planet Vegeta probably had a similar gravity to his own planet, 10 times of Earth's. Interesting. Bulma begins work on a ship, thanks to some help from Mr. Popo, and also the other discarded Saiyan pods that are on Earth. But Goku also asks, is there any way she could help them train in higher gravity? She's not too sure, but her and her father begin working on it too. Since the travel might take a bit of time, Goku and the others, they all want to train in the meantime, and Goku thinks that training in this high gravity might help, if it's possible. Both of them work on the ship together. The ship does take a bit longer to build, although there's some upgrades on it too. Unlike the first ship, this one has a gravity room, and on top of it, this ship is a little bit faster, making up for the time lost building it. This should be great. They'll go to Namek, they'll get the Dragon Balls, and in the meantime they're going to get a lot stronger too by training. Of course, they're not even expecting any threats there at Namek, but who knows. King Kai does say the Namekians are peaceful people, so it should be okay there. But even so, they're still going to want to train regardless, just because they don't really have anything else to do. Especially because they don't know when Vegeta will show up again. He's definitely still alive, and you'll probably find them again one day. So, no time wasted. The ship's complete, and the group gets ready to depart. And there's a big change this time. Besides the ship itself, the group's obviously also way different. It's not just Krillin, Gohan, and Bulma. They have 2 extra people, Goku and Tenshinhan. Like I said before, Goku wasn't as injured as normal. He wasn't using the Kaioken and wasn't beaten nearly to death by a grade 8 Vegeta. Of course, he was injured, but he healed relatively quickly. So this is going to be a huge improvement for the group. There's 2 more of them, they're stronger to begin with, and they're going to have gravity training as well to help. And now the group's fully ready to head for Namek. But they might not be the only ones going there. But we'll save that for next time because this is where we'll leave off for now. What do you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next during the Namek arc? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like if you want to see more videos like this, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.